Could you give us some personal view about Slovenia?
I can. It was a big surprise. It was a big surprise. I've been there, I think, 4 times now. Perhaps the most enjoyable was on a bike ride I did. I've cycled the length of your country. We came in near from Italy. And actually, we left from Italy. We entered from Austria. We cycled across through Maribor down to Ljubljana. I've seen a lot of the country. It's beautiful. And Ljubljana was a big surprise, especially. Stunning. Really beautiful.
Being small, it's a privilege.
Yes, yeah. And I think there's a lot of people who don't know. And that sounds like a negative, but it's not. Still, there's not many places in Europe that must have so much untapped potential. Because the fact not everybody knows Ljubljana or Slovenia, arguably, means there's a lot more people who will want to find out about it.
Slovenia is actually a hidden gem in the middle of Europe and very often wrongfully overlooked.
Yes, I agree. Hidden gem is a good description. It's absolutely beautiful. I've also climbed Triglav.
Really?
Yes, your highest mountain.
Compliments.
Thank you. It's crazy. You could never do that in England, let me tell you. It was mad. It was very exciting, but 200 people climbing was very, very interesting.
How important is psychology if you're talking about MICE industry?
Well, I think the fact is here we are in Barcelona with 15,000 people meeting each other. It's important because when people meet, now I don't necessarily mean at a meeting in a room, but when people are interacting in a business situation, we are trying to often influence and persuade, get our ideas across. Sometimes there's conflict resolution we need to do. Buyers and suppliers are negotiating, and here we are at EIBTM, we go to IMEX, we go to shows all over the world. Every single person that meets needs to know psychology, in our opinion. And we train and speak about the whole science behind interacting. And I'm sure so much business is being done here in Barcelona, but I'm sure there's many people who could interact even more effectively if they knew the fascinating psychology about body language, verbal communication, more non-verbal communication. Science and psychology can tell us a lot, and we hopefully make it an deliver it in a very simplified way, in a very practical way for people. For instance, people who are in the room at this very moment. Really.
What is the biggest challenge in your job?
I think the word science and psychology puts people off sometimes. We have a team of 3 psychologists, and people expect them to be a certain way. They have a predisposition to what they're going to be, a stereotype. So we use science and we're proud of psychology, but sometimes people think, well, that's a bit strange. So it's probably perception. They don't understand. You could perhaps connect it with Slovenia. People don't necessarily know Slovenia and how good it is. Well, I don't think people know psychology and how, we call it Meetology, but psychology, and how much it can do for them. So maybe we are very similar to you as well.
Psychology, you called Meetology. How come?
I was reading a book in 2009 and I thought it was a good brand name, and I trademarked it. We trademarked it all over the world, and we didn't know what we were going to do then, but we thought it was the perfect brand. Ology is science and meetings are when we meet. So it came from an inspiration many years ago, and since then we've been testing different things and what can we do. It's been a long process. But now we're focused exclusively on training and presenting. We present in over 30 countries with open conferences to say, how are you going to interact? You've come from around the world. How can we help you really do business here? So it came from inspiration, really.
Would you agree that theater is heart of any meetings?
Well, experience. I was at a conference, the SITE event. I know you've probably spoken to Kevin and Paul from SITE. One of the industry events had a theme of orchestra of emotions. So theatre is emotions, and yes, people here, every country in this room is saying, come and experience our country.
Yes.
So to come to Slovenia, I come to Ljubljana, I can't take Ljubljana home. You can give me, and you can give people who visit, an experience. It's the memory. So I think there's a big connection between theatre and what this industry does.
How to bring meetings industry closer to the audience?
Well, perception of what we do in this industry, or this industry does, is very difficult. I'm sure if you ask most people here, their husbands and wives and friends and family do not understand what we do. I suspect it's a hidden industry. It really is a hidden industry. Billions of dollars, but it's hidden. I expect asking people, have you been to a conference? Many people in businesses have been to a conference, and suddenly you say, okay, well, who put that together? How did you fly there? The coach transfers, and they start thinking, yeah, that's important. Incentive travel perhaps is slightly less easy to explain because not everyone's been on an incentive, but I think explaining to people that almost business tourism is a good word. They go on a holiday with their families to a hotel for an experience. Well, this is a business trip that will include a larger meeting like this, maybe an incentive trip, but certainly an experience. So I think it's a couple of things. Calling it, I don't love the word MICE, if I'm honest. I never use it. To me, it's not the best way of describing. If you are someone not in this industry, MICE doesn't mean anything. I don't think it's a good thing to use, but people still do. I think business and events, business tourism is a better word. So using different terminology, I think, can help, and also explaining the monetary value. You know, this creates so much money, this industry, for economies around the world. Once people know what it's worth, people like politicians and other people get interested suddenly.
The most popular stereotypes about meetings industry.
Waste of time, big holiday, getting paid to go on the beach, you know, and that shows how the industry hasn't necessarily got the message over. The sad thing is, I joined the industry 15 years ago. It's saying the same things. It's not different. People still don't understand. My worry is that a new breed of people come in and the job isn't still done. You know, we don't work in this meetings industry. We target the meetings industry. I used to work in it, but we target many other industries as well. Therefore, I can't advise on how the meetings industry should change things, but perception is everything, and certainly for most people, the message has not got through to them that the industry is so important, because it is important. It's hugely important. But I suppose the other point is that it's the public who are having the perception. If they never meet the meetings industry, they may never understand it completely. The priority has to be politicians, economists, that area. If we can get them to understand, that's the most important thing.
We would like to cordially invite you to Conventa, the European trade show for meetings, events and incentives, which will be held on the 21st and 22nd of January in Ljubljana. For more information, please click the link below.